What I bring to the table, well, a little bit of physical therapy, but I'm concerned about society in sports, racism in sports.
Hey, look, I served in the military. 20 plus years in the United States Army, retired officer, 3 combat tours to Iraq. Now, this is when he was in his raw state. I mean, meat eating, raw, rare, eating flesh, all kind of this carnivorous, this mean and scary guy.
And we wanted to just share with y'all, maybe even crow a little bit on where our Lakers are right now. We're
with the Dodgers and the Braves, and Dodgers getting the brakes beat off of them.
And win games, don't turn the ball over. And that's their bugaboo, is turning the ball over and giving up too many points on defense. The defense hasn't shown up yet for 2020.
This episode of Take It to the House is brought to you by Mesa Trophies and Plaques. Now, take it to the house.
I'm Timothy Hoover, and I'm taking it to the house.
I'm Vic Urban III, and I'm taking it to the house. So I have to break protocol a little bit. I know last week I said we're going to put a wrap on the NBA season. We'd be complete, and we can move on to baseball and football. However, while I was basking in our success last week, I thought I was pretty good. I thought I was pretty fair. I was gracious in victory. I wasn't rubbing it in the face of anyone, but I received a host of fan hate mail in my Twitter account, in my email, and you know by who? Celtics fan. I'm trying to enjoy the mutual respect that we both won 17 championships, yet time and time again, I keep getting these doggone texts and Twitter talking about, well, you all need to have an asterisk next to this. This doesn't really count. An asterisk next to our 2020 championship? So I was stunned because, again, I thought that we would be in a position of mutual respect. I thought we could celebrate each other's success. I know they're our arch rival, but there's still some level of respect. But they had shots fired. Shots fired. But I'm about to get nuclear right now. So I got to say this. Let me say this as a Celtics fan so we go ahead and eliminate this debate off the bat. You need 11 asterisks next to your championships. 11. That's right. 11. Let's look at this. Let's dig deep into NBA history. 11 championships. Celtics won 11 championships from 1957 to 1969. Quite dominant. Quite dominant. Meanwhile, the Lakers, we won 5 championships from 1949 to 1954. But you know what? The league had 8 to 14 teams in it. You want to sit there and bask on 11 championships when you had 8 to 14 teams? Are you serious? The playoff bubble had more than 14 teams in it. So let's equal this out. Again, 1957 to 1969, 11 championships for the Celtics. Great job, awesome work. But let's balance this thing out. 1970 to 2020. 1970, 2020, the Celtics won 6 championships. So in 1974, the league went to 18 teams. In 1976, the team went to 22 teams in the league. In 81, went to 23 teams. And that lasted the same until 2008, when we went to 32 teams. Again, Celtics won 6 championships from 1970 to 2020. Well, let's just take away 2020. 1970 to 2008. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Lakers won 12 championships from 1970 to 2020. 12. So you mean to tell me as the league got more competitive, as the league grew, our team became more dominant. So don't sit here and talk to me about an asterisk for a 2020 season. Again, when a tournament bubble had more than the whole league in 1949, 1957, 1960s. An asterisk? Come on, Celtic fan. Come up to the club. In the words of Ice Cube, and West Side Connection, bow down to a player that's greater than you. West Side? So I'm good now. I'm good. I had to get that off my chest. I'm sorry.
No, it ain't over. It's not over. You mentioned Celtics. I want to ask you, have they been found yet? Because last I saw, they were on a bubble milk carton. Okay, I haven't seen the Celtics lately. They got bounced by Miami. They were projected to win or be in the series, to be in the big dance this particular year. And where were you? Miss me again, Celtic fan. My brother said, we wanted mutual respect, mutual admiration. We want to say, Celtic fan, you have done well over the time. But when you come with this visceral, we're going to have to bounce back, okay? We're going to have some slap back with us. No asterisks to this particular win or this championship. What we deserve is a star. To go through what we've gone through, and Vic just listed all that we've had to go through to include better competition and better athletes as the league was growing. To have this many championships, you got to recognize that we have and we deserve respect. No, the mountaintop now is crowned with two kings, and we're going to let you, kind of have a little bit of that because you actually got there first, Celtic and Celtic fan. You actually got there first. But what happened this year? So we're not going to go in the past anymore. We're going to go forward. We'll be there next year. Where will you be? I'm asking you, Celtic fan, where are you going to be? All right. You had the best team. You had talent. You had defense. You had a great general manager in Danny Ainge, great coach. You had athleticism. You had scorers. You had defenders. And yet you didn't have enough heart because Miami took it. They took it from you, and then you couldn't show this year. So if you can't defend, not something that you can't defend, then you're really just another player amongst players. Where we're the Kings this year. Right now, the Lakers are on top. So that's our burn for the moment. But let's not forget who's on top right now. 17 total. Another burn I got with the with the Clippers. Now we're going to stay with the NBA a little bit. Clippers. Doc Rivers, coach, fantastic coach. The more I thought about it, Vic, I was like, why was he released? Last year, he got more out of less. There was no Paul George last year, and there was no Kawhi Leonard, and their team was relevant. Let's go back a little bit. Steve Ballmer, Clipper Nation, Donald Sterling fiasco. Who was at the helm when that happened? That was Doc Rivers. And he really kind of settled things down and made the Clippers relevant with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, and then this Lob City, made them relevant. I believe he deserves a pass this year. And so the more I think about it, why did the Clippers fire him? No, Clippers, I think, again, with leadership, Steve Ballmer, if you're at the helm and you're listening to the players, then you're going to have a failed program all the way through. Doc was not the problem. And if you're listening to the players, then you're the problem, Steve Ballmer. So Steve Ballmer, I'm going to give you a C grade on this firing. Really, there's probably give you an F, actually, in retrospect, because Doc should still be in Clipperland. It's not his fault. And we're going to talk about coaches later on. Coaches coach, players play. And so the players couldn't bring it together. No, Steve Ballmer, you messed up on this one. Congratulations, Doc Rivers. You landed in Philadelphia with the 76ers. Congratulations on that. What is it? Stan Van Gundy, new hire with the New Orleans Pelicans today. Congratulations to him. Those are a couple of my NBA burns, but leadership, we talk about leadership and organization. Clippers failed again on this time. Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of the coaches should have a pass this year, unless you're just bowling, unless you're just, a horrible coach. Again, you got to look at Doc Rivers' DNA, championship caliber.
Yeah.
This year's a throwaway. And so I think, again, they rushed the judgment. But again, I talked about last week. That's the difference between being a pretender and a contender. Clippers are the JV team. Lakers are varsity. And when you start making irrational, emotional decisions and not allowing a team to gel and allow Doc Rivers to get his system in place, not just his system of the X's and O's, but how do I galvanize this team? Again, Paul George had been on two other teams prior to, used to being the number one guy. Kawhi hasn't really had to be in a leadership role or that expectation of him to be the vocal leader. And you're in a large market of LA. So looking at those diverse personalities that Doc was going to have to inherit and only giving him 1 year that was obviously shortened and the complexity with COVID, I think that, again, that was unfair, poor leadership decision, and then not even having a successful succession plan, because how long do you take now to hire the right coach? I know they got Tyronn Lue, but again, his DNA championship caliber is because he had the Cavaliers when LeBron won. And again, so I don't know how much Tyronn Lue has been proven in that regard. But Doc got the bad end of this one. He got the bad end of this one.
I'm happy for Black hire. Doc still was able to recycle, show up in Philadelphia. We got Tyronn Lue, another Black hire. Okay, all right. So I'm going to give you a pass with the hire, Steve Ballmer, but I think you screwed up if you're listening to the players, because this is what happens with star-driven leagues. The stars are going to get special treatment, and then there's going to be as Shaq would call them, the others. But that's enough for the NBA rant. LA, we love to party. LA, we love to party. The Dodgers are in the dance, y'all. And so we're celebrating. We had a fantastic game last night. Kershaw was on the mound, gave me five and a third, or did he give me six? Did he give me a six innings? And so yeah. So thank you, Kershaw. And so how did we get here? How did we get here? My take is, if you're not a baseball fan, this is how we got here. 2 grueling championship series. We had the Astros against the Rays, and then we had the Dodgers against the Braves. And really, nobody saw a 7-game series in either case. Astros were down 3-0, and they came back and actually made the series very competitive. And then the Dodgers were down 3-1, and they had to come back and just did what they did, actually executed the better plays and just got enough pitching out of their starters and pen to prevail in the end. So now we're down to the Rays, who have never been to the championship series or the World Series. And then we got the Dodgers. Vic, I know you have something you want to share with our fan base and our audience about the Dodgers. Please, by all means, sir, the mic is yours.
Last week this time, I was nervous. I like Dave Roberts. I was concerned that the team just was not responding. I'm a believer in Dave Roberts. While some ask for his head on a stick, I say you still have to be a great coach and a great leader to get to 7 the championships, or at least 7 league level championships, and to get to the World Series in the last 4 years, 3 times in the last 4 years. So I was very nervous. But again, players play, coaches coach, players win, coaches lose. That's what they say. However, we got to give credit to Dave, because in that last series, you're down 3-1. Now you have to motivate, galvanize, inspire your team. These team of millionaires, these team of players that have endorsement deals, and say, this matters. This trophy matters. Every night that we're going to go out for those next 4 games, we're going to be elimination games. So I hear about players executing, but he had to put together a plan. He had to inspire them to say they can do this. They have not been battle tested this year. So to face the exit, to face elimination for those last 3 games, and he inspired them, that says a lot about him, because not only did they not quit on him, they performed. They went above and beyond. So very excited how they closed out that series, because now that shows the league that this team is not that same team of years past. We're gritty, we're hungry, we're battle tested. So going into the game 1 of the World Series where Kershaw pitched, I love Kershaw. Again, I'm a Dodger fan, but I'm also a realist. I was scared. Which Kershaw is going to show up? Is he okay? How long does Dave put trust in him? Which again goes to his leadership of saying, I trust you. You're my ace. I know you've had hard times and been experienced challenges every time on the stage, but I trust in you to a fault, where he's saying, we're going to ride this together. If you go down, I go down. And he put him out there. And like any great leader, you believed in your player, you believed in your teammate, and he went out there and delivered. It was vintage Kershaw. And I mean, just Dylan. And again, that first inning, I said, oh, here we go. Here we go. This is stressful. He's got a couple of people on base. Oh, come on, man. And
old Kershaw. Yes.
So to see that and to see those bats rally, great. And I tell you right now, another burn to Boston fan, but this time I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Boston Red Sox, that you didn't see enough promise in Mookie Betts that you say, you know what? We're not going to pay the man. So thank you on behalf of Dodger Nation, because he is performing. He
my goodness.
Like a reincarnation of, they said last night, the commentator said he is the LeBron James of baseball. So to see that we got this caliber of player to take us here and take us to this next level, I am so excited. I'm excited to see game 2. I'm rooting for Dave Roberts. This is his year. He's got to do it. But again, I think the excuses have to be thrown out because they did get the championship. But I'd still like to see him come back next year. But if he wins this championship, he goes down in Dodger lore, and he can be there. He can write his own ticket.
In Dave, I trust. Okay. He knows more than I will ever learn. He has forgotten more than I will ever learn. Dave Roberts, the decisions to who to pitch, when to bat, who's going to play the field, and he has interchangeable parts. I will second guess you, yes, Dave, but because I'm a fan and I want things to happen a particular way, or at least be able to understand. But you don't have to ask me. Matter of fact, you don't consult me, but you're doing things and making it happen. To Kiki Hernandez, when is he going to bat? Hits the home run. Putting the steal sign on for Mookie last night. You're talking about Mookie Betts and signing that $300+ million deal. My goodness, a contract extension. I saw him last night still second, and I saw him still third. And you know what I thought? I thought about Vince Coleman and Willie McGee of the St. Louis Cardinals years ago. It was a throwback. It was a throwback. Speed kills, and it compresses the defense, and they have to then therefore account for a base runner. And then you gotta, where's the ball going to be hit? Is he a left-handed hitter? Is it a right-handed hitter? Where's the ball hit? Are we going to get Smokey? And then it was an infield hit. Ball hit to the first baseman, and he scores on an infield hit. Fielder's choice. So Mookie, I love what he's done. And what you're saying is Dave Roberts knows his personnel. You know, KYP, is that know your personnel? And he knows his personnel. And he is loyal. It's clear. He is very loyal. You want a leader who knows his people, knows when to coddle, knows when to yell, pull, situational. To me, he's very situational. And I couldn't say this a couple years ago as a Laker fan. I second guessed him. But right now, Dave, whatever you do and whatever you decide to do, you're proven to get it done. And the players have found to follow your lead. You don't get rattled. Everybody just were down 3-1 in the previous series, and they came to play. And Vic, to your point, they executed without nervousness. Remember the short hit to Turner, and he doubled up on third base. Just executed more plays than the Braves did. And so look at us now. And think about the pressure that's been on the Dodgers all year. Expected to be here. They are expected to be here. So now I'm like, okay, there's an expectation, Lakers, Dodgers, who can perform? And we know about pressure. Pressure does burst pipe, but they don't seem to be succumbing to this pressure, and they seem to be excelling at this particular point in time. I'm talking about the Dodgers now. Lakers already did their thing. So I don't know who's pitching tonight, game 2 tonight, and I expect if the bats show up, it won't matter necessarily who's pitching because the defense is there and the bats are there, the offense is there, and we should be able to show. But outstanding take. I love your take on Dave Roberts. The last thing that I want to say about the Dodgers, I am tired of the 1998 Kirk Gibson limping around. I'm tired of it. I said 98. I apologize. It was 88, 1988 when he limped around, hit that home run. That was the last time that the Dodgers did anything worth anything. That was the last time they actually won the World Series. So these guys, none of these guys, who was born even at that time in 88. I think Kershaw is probably the only guy on the besides Dave who was around at that time who could even remember that. So Dodgers, let's make some new memories. Okay, 1988, we will cherish it. It's historical. Now we can make some new memories, Dodgers. Sir, on you.
I agree. I agree. It's time to make new memories. Saying 1988 is no different than talking about the Celtics in 1969. Okay, what have we done lately? So again, we have got to bring this championship home, especially now. LA is title town. And you talk about expectations. The Lakers have created expectations. Clippers had expectations but failed. Dodgers have the expectation. They got to close the deal. They have got to close the deal. Because look at those teams that had to fight against adversity for hundreds of years. What was it? The Boston Red Sox had a curse. Chicago Cubs had a curse. And they've all won a championship since we won one. So it is time to deliver the championship back to LA for the Dodgers. And I already see a couple of the clips that they could highlight. Mookie Betts, the game-saving home run catch he made, or still in home. Cody Bellinger, that nice swagger when he swings and he knows it's out the park. I mean, these guys, Kiki. So we have some memories that are being created. We've got to close the deal. But I don't want to overlook the Rays. The Rays, again, are also battle tested, and they're serious as well. I still question, were they ready for the prime time, considering you up 3-0 against the Houston Astros in that last series, only to go 7 games. So I question, do you have the ability to finish? Do you have because if you go up, if the Dodgers go up 3-0 on you all, it's done. So I question that side of the Rays' ability to finish, but I don't question their heart because they got some mean pitching. And so it will be it's going to be a hard fought series. I still expect it to go about 6 games, but I do see LA winning, but I do not want to overlook the Rays because they had the second best record in the league. So it definitely should be a great series.
With the pitching performance of Kershaw last night, do you feel as though and before we move on to the NFL, do you feel that he excised his demons last night, or there's more to be done on his behalf to be called respectable in the postseason? Because we know his record is not so good in the postseason. We know his performance hasn't been so good. His ERA is, I believe, it's over 5 in the postseason. Did last night excise those postseason demons, in your opinion?
I was told when I was in uniform, 1 time is a data point, 2 times an indicator, 3 times is a trend. He gave us a data point. I like to believe he has exercised his demons, but he has at least one more pitching outing before the end of the series and to see how he shows up. But I'm happy at least for that first, as far as a game of confidence or to help his confidence. What he did last night was a great data point. I would like to see him become a trend.
Good take. But we have a lot of series left in this the World Series, and so I'll be tuned in tonight, and I'm sure you will be, and we'll be talking some more about the Dodgers on the next episode of Taking It to the House. As we transition into the NFL, the Monday night game, Cowboys, they laid an egg. The Cowboys laid an egg, and we have talked about the Cowboys, but we haven't talked about the Cowboys enough ad nauseum. So, I mean, I was really disappointed in the performance. You see that payroll that they have, and you see that the personnel that they have on offense, to include Zeke dropping the ball at least 2 times. And come on, I understand the defense. I can almost digest the defense, but the offense, ineptitude, if you will, inept. Come on, man. Your thoughts, sir, on the Cowboys?
Yeah, America's team, almost like America's nightmare, because right now I don't know what they're doing. And why the NFL has a contract to have them on TV every week right now, they need to put those guys underneath, somewhere down there with the Browns or some of the Falcons right now, because they're one Falcons collapse away from being winless. So, I mean, come on, man. You not only that, it shows more about why would you not pay Dak? That game not only showed how ineptitude that they are as a franchise right now, which is sad to say, because I know it's America's team. But it also showed how valuable Dak Prescott is. There's also a report that went out by James Slater who spoke about the players are now talking about discontent. Coaches were unprepared. They don't know what they're doing. So a lot of times, issue that happen within the locker room stays within the locker room. When you get to a point where the players are now talking to the media openly, you got an issue within organizational leadership. You got an issue. But again, that shows the invaluable tangibles that Dak Prescott has, that extended past the field. You're telling me that this man who was able to galvanize his team, lead them, put up great stats, kept them together, and then outside of off the field, also being able to keep them relatively quiet. You never heard this kind of stuff when he was in it. So that shows even how more invaluable he is. And I think his value just increased. Pay the man.
Jerry Jones. Jerry, look in my eyes, Jerry. Pay the man. He's valuable. Pay the man. What Dak did do, he hid a whole lot of mistakes that you guys had. Pay the man. It's unfortunate. No, I don't blame you for his injury, but pay the man or you're going to lose him. Vic, I know that you're a Baltimore Ravens fan. I want you to assess the Baltimore Ravens, but tell me who's your front runner, because I don't believe Baltimore should be at the top of that list. So who's your front runner before we close this session out?
It hurts to say. I am a diehard Ravens fan, but I'm also an NFL fan. I'm an NFL fan first before I'm a Ravens fan. And that's why I can watch any game and feel pretty connected to it, because I'm an NFL fan. When I look at the body of work, I'm nervous about the Ravens right now, because while we can put up points on offense, defensively, which normally is not an issue, defensively, we don't seem like we're connecting. We don't seem like we're connecting also on offensively last weekend against the Eagles. We have a 24-6 lead going into the fourth quarter, only for that game to come down to the wire. It's unnecessary. So I'm glad they have a bye this week. But out of the bye, they're going to play the Steelers. And the Steelers this year looking great. So right now, yes, you're correct. The Ravens are not my front runner to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, but they're very close. They're like number 2, right behind the Kansas City Chiefs. It's the Chiefs. It's the Chiefs ring to lose. They are defending champions. What I do find is interesting about this league this year is that the teams that are above the cream, have played some less than stellar teams. So I really can't wait to see when they actually play some real good teams. I'm glad the Chiefs lost to the Raiders, because it starts to show a little bit more competition within an AFC West, but also humbles them. So right now, my front runner is the Kansas City Chiefs. And in the NFC, right now, Tampa Bay. What they did to Aaron Rodgers last week. Wow. I would have said last week it could have been Green Bay, may have been my front runner. But Tom Brady has had to go against 2 of the greatest quarterbacks. He's already had to play Drew Brees, and he had to play Aaron Rodgers. That defense has cranked up. So right now, Tom Brady is the GOAT. I will defer to him in the NFC. I do not know, and probably right behind him may be the Seattle Seahawks. Again, I looked at the records of who they all played. Right now, it's still 6 games in the year. I'm still curious on how things unfold, but those are my 2 front runners: the Chiefs and Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it's still early. It's still so early, but we're going to be prognosticators. We're going to be experts on predicting the future, and we're not good at it, but that's okay. If we've got a lot of fandom to do it with. But what I see, believe it or not, I disagree on the AFC side. I believe the Tennessee Titans, actually, by my eye test, are the truth. With Mike Vrabel as the coach and Derrick Henry as that running back, straight beast mode, and they play the defense. They actually remind me of the Patriots back in the day with a young Belichick and a young Brady. Although Tannehill, he's not Brady by any means, but he's functional. And so I go with Tennessee Titans in the AFC, and I agree with you, Seattle. They don't have the defense, but they got Russell Wilson, who can, again, cover up any blemishes that they have. But those are my two picks, and we'll see how it unfolds. To your point, it's still early, and let's enjoy the season while we still have it.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to say, I do like Tennessee, but this weekend is their test. They play the Steelers.
Okay.
Both teams undefeated. If the Tennessee Titans are worth their salt and they go up against the Steel Curtain and they close the deal, then I may have to change my rankings there, because Derrick Henry's a bad dude. He runs with some bad intentions, and he's trying to take some people out. So he's scary. And what Deion Sanders said years ago, he had to make some business decisions before tackling people. I can see a lot of people making business decisions before tackling Derrick Henry. So he's scary. But they're battle tested. So this weekend, Steelers versus the Titans will be a great matchup of undefeated teams, and that will show if Tennessee's for real.
It's the game to watch for the weekend. My last comments: stay COVID safe, family. Wear your masks, socially distance, protect yourselves, protect your families.
Take care, everyone. Hit us on our Twitter. Take care. Vote, vote, vote. See you all next week. Take it to the house.